Next segment tonight, radical Islam and the clash of civilizations. The U.S. is joining efforts to rescue nearly 300 schoolgirls who were kidnapped by a radical Muslim terrorist group in Nigeria. The terrorist leader has vowed to sell the girls into slavery, claiming Allah has given him permission to do so. Meanwhile, out in Beverly Hills, Hollywood elites are leading a campaign to boycott hotels and other properties owned by the Sultan of Brunei after he imposed brutal anti-women and anti-gay laws in his own country.
I'd like to think that all people are basically good, and when they realize this is going on, hopefully they will do something about it. I mean, this is not, there's nothing extreme happening here. These aren't, crazy feminist wackos. They're women who just try to protect other women. And gay people protecting other gay, I mean, it just, I don't know, Berlin, 1933, hello? I mean, just, does it seem that far off from what happened during the Holocaust?
Is this latest clash of civilizations exposing the true face of Islam? Joining me with reaction from Portland, Oregon, Harris Zafar. He's the national spokesperson for the Ahmadiyya Muslim community. And from Phoenix, Zuhdi Jasser. He's the president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. Gentlemen, it's good to see you. This is so heartbreaking. I covered this on my radio show a few days after we heard about this. This was now a couple of weeks back. And as a mother, you send your child off to school every day and to think never to see her perhaps again. Dr. Jasser, let's start with you. Should the United States be involved here, and what should the U.S. actually do? What can it do?
Well, at this point, Laura, the most important thing is to get these girls to safety. They're being used by a radical militant group that just has been bombing churches, and they find every opportunity possible to attack the West. Boko Haram, in their language, means the Western education is a sin. I was in Nigeria a month ago, and the Nigerian government is trying to do what they can, but, to be fair, they've also had a lot of corruption problems in their government. They've allowed many to go convicted and with impunity. So the issue is right now we need to save these poor girls and do what we can to get them to safety. But the bigger picture, you have Secretary Kerry, who just gave a speech in Ethiopia, didn't use the word Islamism, didn't talk about Islamic radicalism. This administration has no strategy, and you have countries like Nigeria where you have an opportunity for reform, 50-50 Muslim-Christian, and yet we don't take those opportunities and we let radicalism fester.
Mr. Zafar, look, I think part of the problem here is that we have a dead American ambassador. We have no one in custody. Not to go back to Benghazi, but we have no one in custody. Okay, now again, anywhere in this investigation, as far as I could tell. And now people are saying, well, what are you going to do about these young girls? You got to do something. And believe me, our heart breaks for all of this horrific violence against religious minorities, Christians, Catholic priests being murdered during the middle of Mass, Syrian Christians, the Coptic Christians. They are being decimated, destroyed. The population is being halved almost every month, it seems. But what do we do at this point? I mean, we've sent a message to the world that you can kill a U.S. ambassador, and it looks like get away with it.
Well, to your point, when the extremists have free reign and they don't feel the proper pushback, then they will keep pushing the envelope. And the only thing I'd add to your list is that mosques and Muslims and other non-Christians have also been victimized by such radical ideology. And so this is something that affects all of us. And if we don't stop it now, then it will continue to breed more and more extremism. So if the solution is really a couple items altogether. First, it's providing the justice. And if the Nigerian government isn't able or perhaps willing to provide the justice and bring these radical justice, then we stand by anyone who is willing to help to stop their reign of terror. And on top of that, they're using an ideology to breed more of their terrorism, to inculcate more of this ideology in their kids. So it's also incumbent upon the leaders of the different faith groups, the different nations and cultures to fight this war of ideas. And that's why it's important for
what is the African Union doing about this? I mean, I don't know what the African Union is doing. I mean, it is their continent, right? One would hope that this is addressed primarily by the leaders of the African continent. But it seems like Africa is roiling in so much ethnic and religious Bishop Gassis has been doing amazing work in South Sudan. You know, I've seen pictures where entire villages, and this is Islamic versus Christian crime of those fire bombers, with those huge fire guns, just torching women and girls. And I mean, this happens regularly. So now people know, well, these girls are kidnapped. We have to do something. What have we been doing to stem the tide of violence? And I would say, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say the lion's share of this religious violence is Islamic on religious minorities. Sometimes other Muslims, for sure. But it's Islamic against Christians, Islamic against non-complying Muslims. And as far as I can tell, and Dr. Jasser, you can close it out, I think it's gotten worse over the past 5 years, not better.
Absolutely, and it really has gotten worse because we aren't addressing the problem. We keep addressing the symptom, as you laid out. And finally, you see Hollywood wake up with what happens in Brunei. But wait a minute, where were they when Al Gore ignored and took $500 million from Qatar because they bought his station Al Jazeera when they were doing the same types of laws in Qatar? And we've been ignoring the bigger problem, which, as Tony Blair laid out last week, was about Islamism and political Islam. It's a much bigger tumor. It's an ideology that we need to only Muslims like Harris and myself can address if we advance reform ideas, and the American government needs to stand behind reformists.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Harris and Zuhdi.